NBA free agency is almost here. As you know, NBA free agency is on Friday. I believe teams can start signing players at 6 o'clock Eastern time, and I'm excited for it. We had a few trades already. We had Kristaps Porzingis get traded to the Boston Celtics. I think Marcus Smart going to the Grizzlies, and then Tyus Jones and a few other things going to the Washington Wizards. And the Wizards are a big question mark we'll talk about right now. And we also had another trade of probably the weirdest trade that's happened. John Collins going to the Utah Jazz for Rudy Gay and a second-round pick, which, I mean, probably not the package that, obviously the package Atlanta wanted, but not the package you could have got a few years ago. They think they waited way too long to do this trade. I thought it would never happen. I thought it'd be next season we'll be talking about it still, but John Collins to the Utah Jazz, and we have now that's such a big lineup. After drafting Taylor Hendricks, you have, so who would it be? Jordan Clarkson, Lauri Markkanen at the 2, John Collins at the 3, Taylor Hendricks at the 4, and then Walker Kessler. It's a big lineup, but I doubt it happened. I like to see it happen just for the memes, but you have that. But here we go. NBA free agency here. We got Houston with a lot of money, San Antonio with a lot of money. Yeah, I got it right here. Let me read it off to you. The top 5 teams with it. Houston with $60.9 million in cap space. San Antonio with $38.6, almost $40 million in cap space. The Sacramento Kings opened up with a trade they did during the draft and now have $35.6 million in cap space. The Pacers $32.2 million, and the Pistons with $30 million in cap space. And man, we have a lot of rumors. We'll be going through the top 10 free agents, where I think they should go, what they should do. And before we get to that, teams that need to make a move, that need to find a direction. I have 4 teams that I really want to talk about. Number 1, the Dallas Mavericks. They're starting off so good with the offseason. They got off Davis Bertans' contract, and they got Maxwell Prosper. I believe that's his name, Maxwell Prosper, something like that, from the draft from the Kings. And that was one trade that they got. And then they also got with the pick they traded back with the OKC Thunder getting off Davis Bertans' contract. They did that. They got Derek Lively the second, and that's such a great pick. With someone you could have got at 10, you reach back, you know what? We think he's gonna still be there at 12. Get off a bad contract that's just eating up our books. Open up a little bit more cap, and then boom. And then for them to also take in Rashawn Holmes. There you're deep on the big man, and that's definitely what the Mavericks needed. And next team, the Chicago Bulls. You have DeMar DeRozan, you have Zach LaVine, who's going to be paid $40 million this next year, and you have Nikola Vucevic to see as an unrestricted free agent. It looks like he's going to go back to Chicago, but man, honestly, I don't like it. Honestly, I think Chicago needs to go to a rebuild, but it's hard to do that too, because I believe this year they do, but for the next future, I believe 25 and 27, I believe. I think it could be just 25. They don't have their first round pick. It is to the San Antonio Spurs. I don't know the protections off the top of my head, but they didn't have this year. It had been a top 4 pick. Obviously, that was Jet Howard. That was Jet Howard off the top of my head. Yes, that was Jet Howard to the Magic. Oh man, and I just want them to find direction. I think they can get a decent package for DeMar DeRozan. It's not going to be 3 or 4 first round picks. I think it'd be probably 1 in like 4 seconds or something like that. And then I think you get, decent packages. And I know there's rumors that the Knicks were looking to make a trade for Zach LaVine, and Zach LaVine's team doesn't like it. But if it gets you back a young player like RJ Barrett and a few picks, why not? And then if you trade him to Portland, I would hope to get Anthony Simons, or I don't think you're going to get Scoot Henderson unless it's a straight up swap. But I don't think the Trailblazers can do that, and that's a whole other thing. Portland Trailblazers. Come on. There's reports now that Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers head office had a meeting after coming back from vacation, that Damian Lillard this will be whether he's going to request a trade. Everyone thinks it was going to be request a trade, or whether he was going to stay in Portland. And pretty much it came out saying, we'll see how free agency goes. He doesn't want to put too much pressure on the Portland front office, and honestly, this will probably be the last time I talk about this until they make a move talking about free agency. But this is probably the last I talk about Damian Lillard in Portland being traded. I think he's going to stay, and I'm just like, oh well, at this point it's kind of just annoying at this point. You hear him doing all this, playing Miami song by Will Smith on IG, and then you have him, and they have Jimmy Butler playing one of Dame's songs and posting on his. It gets annoying at this point, and I would hope a trade can happen, but I mean, I think they're going to stay with the delusion of Portland's going to stay delusional, and hopefully they can say, oh, we're going to bring back Jeremy Grant and have a championship team that has, all respect to Yusuf Nurkic, but Yusuf Nurkic is their championship center. There's a Nikola Jokic out there, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker together. You still have I'll still even take Kawhi Leonard and Paul George right now with them being not healthy as much. I mean, and that's the next team we'll talk about with them. They need to find a sense of direction. What are they going to do? I keep seeing all these rumors of Paul George. I don't know how many much more of their picks because they did give away a lot of picks to the Thunder. Man, and that's the one thing. Can you even be bad because Kawhi Leonard doesn't look like he wants to stay in California, or at least with the Clippers? What can you do with that? I mean, can you be a bad team with Kawhi? I don't know about that. I mean, I guess you can if he misses a lot of games, but then when he plays, he elevates the whole team and makes everybody else around him better. But man, I think those are the teams that really make big moves. Dallas, Portland, Chicago, and the Clippers really need to see what they really need to see a direction they're going. I think Dallas just needs to put more help around Luka, and that's possibly Grant Williams, sign and trade, hopeful, something like that. But let's talk about these free agents. Let's see. First free agent, the number one free agent, James Harden. Of course, my two top teams for him are the Philadelphia 76ers and the Houston Rockets. Here, it's kind of like whether he wants to win or he just wants to reunite and make money. Because Houston, like I said, Houston's got $60 million, and they can offer him. I don't think they'll give him $60 million. I hope. They can still pay him and then bring in someone else decent for them for the roster, but it's just so young. You brought in Cam Whitmore and Amin Thompson in this draft, and it's just so much young talent. You have Alperen Sengun, Guzman Garaba, or Guzman Dieng, or however you say it, and you have him, Jabari Smith, Jalen Green. You have KPJ. It's just so much talent, and it's like you're gonna have to trade those young guys. And I think here they should go for a veteran point guard that we'll talk about later. And I think James Harden should just go back to Philly. And I mean, I don't know what the contract situation looks like there, but hopefully they can work something out and work something to help build this team, be a contender, and at least get past the second round. Next free agent we have is Kyrie Irving. Of course, every single guard is going to be linked up to Houston because they have the most money. They have all this money, but I think he's going to go back to Dallas. That seems like the smart move for him. And there already reports that, Derek Lively is going to wear number 2, and he says if he resigns, he's going to wear number 11. So that's what it looks like, Kyrie back to Dallas. And then number 3, who I have here, I kind of just wrote down because there was some that was like Kristaps Porzingis, or it was like Russell Westbrook, number 3. But he is the top, but I don't know what the value market is for him. But number 3, Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton after the Grizzlies, I have the Grizzlies at number 1, my favorite spot for him. But the moves they make, I don't know how much room they can make to free up space for Chris Middleton. But of course, they have John Moran, a big deal. I don't really know Marcus Smart's deal, but I know it's kind of a friendly deal. And then Jaren Jackson Jr., who's on a big deal, but also very friendly. And I mean, I don't really. And then you have Desmond Bane. There we go. I was blanking. Desmond Bane up for a contract next year. And I don't really know how the lineup looks like. Of course, John Moran suspended for, I believe, 28 games. And you have, right now, the starting lineup, it would be Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, which is really small already. And then you have Chris Middleton, Jaren Jackson Jr., and then hopefully Steven Adams comes back. Or, you bring in someone else like a Zaire Williams, I believe is on the team. Yes, Zaire Williams can make a jump and be that 3 guard for them. But I really like Chris Middleton. And then, of course, Chris Middleton going back to Milwaukee, to be a championship contender. I think that's his best option right there, to be a winner to win a championship. But I mean, I'm not sure how much the money situation is for Milwaukee. Of course, Milwaukee has to try to bring back Brook Lopez. We'll talk about it in a bit. Chris Middleton, I think it's just too much in the books, and then for them to have no depth at all. And the last team for Chris Middleton, the Sacramento Kings. They opened up the money. I don't know how much money Chris Middleton wants, but here Chris Middleton goes to Sacramento. Is like the second best player on some nights, and here for this team right here, this can be Chris Middleton could be an upgrade for a better version of Harrison Barnes than Harrison Barnes was, and you can have him play the 3 or have him play the 4. I think you can have him play the 3. Keegan Murray could play the 4, develop behind a Chris Middleton, which could end up being Keegan Murray's ceiling for them, and then have Keegan Murray play the 4, and then of course Domantas Sabonis playing the 5. And I really like that a lot for Chris Middleton. And the number 4, the big one, Draymond Green. I think he's personally going to go back to Golden State. You had him talking to LeBron in France, but of course I think he talked to the team before he went on vacation. He talked to the Warriors, and it looks like he'll come back on a more friendly deal. And then with this looking like also with Jordan Poole being traded to the Washington Wizards. But other teams I have for them, the Sacramento Kings and the Portland Trail Blazers, of course, which, I mean, the Portland Trail Blazers can get all the help they get, but I don't know how really they make up that much money that Draymond wants to get paid. And the next, Fred VanVleet. Here I have him going to either Houston or Orlando. I like Orlando, be that veteran guard. But of course, you did just draft an Anthony Black, which is kind of a question mark, right? Not Anthony Black, not question mark, but get to bring in another guard once you already have, Jalen Suggs. You have all these players and all these talent already, and you got to start not cutting people, but you got to start making moves to, you have a lot of depth, but you don't have a lot of forward depth and you don't have a lot of center depth. And I don't think Bobo is a backup center for the future. I mean, it'd be nice if he is, but I don't know if I rely on that. I would hope to get another center, another forward, something like that for that Magic team. But I think I like more Houston. I think Houston could be that he could be that veteran point guard that they need for a young team, like for Jabari Smith, for Jalen Green, for Alperen Sengun. I think Fred VanVleet will fit well there in Houston. And then Jeremy Grant. He wants so much money, and I think that the Portland Trail Blazers have the bird rights to him, so they can pay him the most. But another team I have for Jeremy Grant is the Sacramento Kings. They can get any help at the 4 that they can get. I think whatever 4 they get to a certain level can help them go, not championship, but another push in the playoffs. Hopefully make them make, a playoff, second round, maybe a Western Conference appearance. But I mean, I think that's what they need help with. They got Colby Jones, who I was really high off on the draft, and they were able to steal that from the Celtics. And then here, Kyle Kuzma, the big question mark. You have him here. I'll just say my 3 teams for him: Sacramento, Portland, and even Dallas. I would love him in Dallas. Luka, Kyrie, Derek Lively at the 5. And I mean, you got Davis Bertans to open up space. And I think they would have to make a few more trades, a few salary dumps like Tim Hardaway or something like that. Maybe even Dwight Powell. I think they could open that, and I really like that combo right there. I would hope he can go to Dallas to help Dallas go to the next level. I would like Indiana, but I think you drafting Jarris Walker kind of mixes it up. But he can play the 4, so I really like that. You have a Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, Kyle Kuzma, Jarris Walker, Miles Turner. I really like that lineup right there for a team that was competing in the playoffs. But you had, of course, Tyrese Halliburton get hurt. I think Kyle Kuzma could take that team to another level. And, of course, Sacramento, like I said earlier, they just need all the help they can get in the 4 spot, even the 3. Of course, replacing Harrison Barnes. And, of course, the big one, Brook Lopez. And I have all the Dallas teams pretty much linked to him. Or all the Texas teams. Dallas could use his help, which, now that I think of it, I don't really like it. So I'll just say my 2. Houston, of course, him being there, just getting a bag pretty much and help leading Alperen Sengun. Him just being, I think Alperen Sengun can play the 4, which, that causes drama with, of course, Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith. But I think I see Cam Whitmore more as a 6-man or maybe just a second guy off the bench. And of course, Wemby and San Antonio kind of have put out that, we don't really want Wembanyama playing the four, so much in the future, or the center, so much, to take that wear and tear off his body, and why not have a veteran defensive led Brook Lopez that can work inside and outside, where he can go back to his old ways and stay in the paint. Victor Wembanyama be in the perimeter, and they can just switch off. Let Wemby get those reps, and I think it's a great veteran center who's developing the game right there for Wembanyama to learn from. And of course, that leads to the point guard. Of course, you have Trey Jones. I think Greg Popovich will kind of work into leading into a Jeremy Sohan at the point guard, which he can, has a great ball handling, and ball handling is to work on, but he has great playmaking and great vision to be a point forward. And it would be a lineup of Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and then of course Wembanyama and Brook Lopez. And San Antonio and Houston just need money to spend, so they pretty much just need to, throw contracts at anybody that they can. And of course Dillon Brooks right here, and it's looking like Houston. They have all the money. I think a James Harden or a Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks right there. Not much to spend. They need shooting. They just need to spend money. And then last but not least, Austin Reeves. And it's pretty much two teams. San Antonio, which he can be that point guard for them, that, to help facilitate with them, work with them. And he's a little bit older, but he's still on that timeline to be, they want to make a play-in push. They want to try to make a, maybe an 8th seed, maybe, push for a 6th seed. I think Austin Reeves could be that point guard to help them out next to, and he is good defensively also, next to, like I said earlier, Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson, help open them up and let them find their shots. And then the next one, of course, is the Lakers just matching the deal, which I think they will do at the end of the day. And, if I'm a Lakers fan, I hope Austin Reeves goes back, because I think the Spurs will snatch him up if they have the chance to. Comment down below, what do you want your favorite team to sign? What trades do you want to see? Do you think Dame should leave Portland? We'll see you next time with more content.